Hi, welcome to It's Your Life, Have It Your Way, brought to you by Growth Unlimited. My name's Jeanette Larsen, and I'm your host for this presentation. We've been talking about crisis fatigue, and this is the third video in the series. In this particular video, we're going to talk about different ways that you can help alleviate symptoms of crisis fatigue for yourself and for your families. Now, as we've talked about before, crisis fatigue is a condition that seems to be occurring as a result of the events that have been occurring in everyone's life over the last few months. The combination of the stress from COVID-19 and the additional issues that have come up in the world have created problems for people that are similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. However, the criteria cannot be met for a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, so it is being called crisis fatigue. And anyone can get it, from children to elderly people. We've talked a little bit about what it was. We've talked about some of the symptoms that can help you recognize that it may be occurring. And today we're going to talk about what to do if you see those symptoms happening. Now, I've broken this down into two different age groups, older people and adults. Basically, older people meaning older teenagers through the end of lifespan, and children, younger people, small children through young teenagers. There are specific things that can be done to help each of these groups. Some of them overlap, some of them are a little different. But we're going to talk about what to do to help that older group of people first. First of all, and I'm going to do it in terms of talking about how you can help yourself if you're seeing some of these things happen in your life. First of all, be intentional about how you're spending your energy. You can't control everything. There are certain things that you have more control over than others, and so the best thing to do is to prioritize and pick one or two things that you can work on that will have results in what you do with them each day. That way you're not trying to take on everything all at once and overwhelming yourself. Secondly, choose your battles. You are not able to resolve every issue that comes up, particularly if the issue is an issue that belongs to someone else. You have no control over what other people do. You can influence them, but ultimately they're going to make the decision about what they're going to do, and they're going to have to deal with the consequences of that choice. You taking on the responsibility for that or getting upset because they won't do what you want them to do only creates additional stress in your life. And so pick and choose what you're going to battle. If you choose to try to influence someone, great, go for it. But realize that ultimately they're going to make the decision, and be able to draw back and say, okay, fine, I've done all I can do, and I'm not going to be involved anymore. At a certain point, you need to start thinking about what you need to do for you. Okay, the next thing you can do is focus on things that bring joy and hope to you, as well as focusing on the things that are negative that are going on in your life. Focusing on things that are wonderful or joyful in your life helps you balance the difficult times with the good times. It helps you realize that not everything is horrible, and it gives you perspective in terms of being able to get through the rough road. So try to look at things positively. Look for positive things that are going on and celebrate them. You'll find that'll help you feel a lot better. Next, practice good self-care. Get enough sleep, eat appropriately, Exercise regularly, at least 30 minutes, 3 times a week, vigorously enough that it brings a sweat. And make sure that you get outside each day for at least 30 minutes in the sunlight. The fresh air and the sun will really make a big difference in your mood, and the vitamin D that you'll get from the sun will actually help alleviate some of the stress that you're feeling. Then also use meditation, mindfulness, and relaxation to help you cope when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Building skills of meditation or mindfulness in particular can be very, very helpful in learning how to control the things that are causing you to be stressed. And validate yourself. Realize that you are your own best cheerleader. Look at the things that you do well and tell yourself you do them well. And if something doesn't go quite the way you'd like it to go, recognize that there are changes need to be made, but don't beat yourself up for it. Recognize that you are doing the best you can in the circumstances that are surrounding you. And if you need to, coach yourself. Take the time to learn something new. If something's bothering you, do some research on it. Find out a little bit more about it. Get more information, because that will help you resolve the issue that's there. And then don't be afraid to reach out to other people who are experts in the subject that you're researching. A life coach or even a therapist or a physician can be very helpful to you at times when you're struggling with these things. Next, practice self-management. Maintain a routine. Get out of bed at the same time every morning. Go to bed at the same time every night. Have routines and rituals of things that you do each day so that each day is the same. That provides a basis of normalcy for you, provides a level of security that makes it easier to get through the day. Organize your life. Make sure you're getting the things done that you need to get done. One of the things that I do each day is I start with a list of things that have to be done for my work day, and I keep track of those things and check them off as I'm doing them. My productivity soared, and my own feelings of self-worth and my calm increased drastically once I started doing that. Then you'll want to manage your home and your environment. Make sure that your home is neat. Don't let it get cluttered and messy, because that makes it more difficult for you to feel good about what's going on in your life. Keep things up the way you would prior to the crisis occurring. And make sure your workspace is neat and organized, because it facilitates your being able to do the work that you need to do. Control how much electronic usage you do. Limit the time that you have on the computer using social media or whatever, any other device you have, your cell phone. If you use a tablet, same thing there. Your television time needs to be limited. One of the things that I have done is in my life is I, for example, watch the news once a day. I check my email once a day. And I limit the time that I'm on social media extremely, because I found that being on those things too much and constantly listening to newscasts and conferences and things that were going on just created more problems for me. I found that listening to the news once a day keeps me abreast of what I need to know, but I don't have to get overwhelmed by all the stuff that's going on in the media and on social media. By limiting the phone calls and the things that, I turn my phone off when it's time to go to bed, and I don't turn it back on until the next morning, because I was getting calls in the middle of the night. It is it is really, you need to control these things. That media is there for you and for your convenience. You are not there for the convenience of other people who want to use media to reach you. And so take control of that. Provide the protection you need to provide for yourself. You're going to find that your mental health and your state of mind is a lot more positive if you do. Okay, now, when you're working with kids, children have a very, very difficult time right now because it's very frightening and they don't fully understand what is going on here. You think about yourself when you haven't understood what was going on. You had a tough time too. Now put yourself in your child's place. They don't have the ability to comprehend what's going on, and they don't have the skills that they would need to be able to research and find out what's going on like you. All they hear is what the grown-ups are talking about, and it's scary. So talk to your children about the pandemic and about the other things that are going on in their lives right now. Answer their questions in a way that they can understand what you're telling them. Next, reassure them that they are safe. Let them know it's okay to be upset. Validate the feelings that they have. Let them know it's entirely normal to be uncertain and confused. And let them know it's normal if they're not happy about having to do some of the things that are going on, because are you happy about everything you're being asked to do? Share the stress reduction techniques that you're using on yourself with them. Teach them how to use the mindfulness skills you're using. Turn it into a game. Make it a fun experience for everybody. Limit their news and media coverage as well, and limit their social media exposure. Here again, the more they're involved in that, the more stress they're going to feel. And they are able to get the information that they need in order to operate at the level they are operating by limiting that contact. Okay, maintaining their routines is very important as well. And I think even more so if in situations, for example, like having to do homeschooling rather than being able to go to school, keeping that schedule as normal as possible is going to give them a bigger sense of control over what's going on in their lives. It's also going to help make sure that they stay abreast of what needs to be done for them to be ready to move on in the future. And so if they are attending school at home, make sure they do it every day. Help them stay on top of getting homework done and doing the things that they need to do to stay current. Okay, provide structure in their lives by maintaining family rules and responsibilities. Even though things are different, being able to rely on what has happened in the past as a stable thing in your life is going to help create normalcy in the situation. And so have them do the regular chores, just like they have always done. Make sure that your family rules are maintained and expect them to obey them with appropriate consequences if they choose not to. Next, be a role model. Demonstrate to your children how you're taking care of yourself. Show them how you're maintaining your routine. Let them know when you're not happy, but you're doing something that you don't want to do. Let them know that you're in this together and that everyone struggles with the situations that we're facing now. Then spend time with your child doing productive things. Read to them, play games with them, sing with them, take them on walks, do things together to foster the relationship that you have with them. And encourage them to maintain relationships with people outside of your household. Help them stay in touch with their friends via email, telephone, and video conferencing, even if they can't see them in person. Help them stay in contact with relatives. One family I know started a letter writing campaign that they are actually going to use to combine all together the family history of what occurred during the COVID-19 crisis. It's turned into a really fun project for everybody, and it's productive and everyone's excited about it. They're definitely not feeling overwhelmed and controlled by the situation. Okay, and for teenagers have an especially difficult time right now. The teenage years is a time of life where there's a lot of exploration, a lot of trying to shift away from the controls that they've had within their parental home, and trying to take on more responsibility in their own lives. And so, given the situation we have now, where we are forced to be back in the home and we are close together all the time, it's understandable that your teenagers may struggle a little bit with some of the conflict and restrictions that they're being asked to deal with in the home. So if you can find a way to help them gain more control over their lives, they're going to have an easier time of it, and so will you, because life won't be so difficult for either one of you if you don't have all that conflict tied up. One family I know had a teenage son, who wanted to get a part-time job before the crisis started. Well, of course, that ended when COVID-19 hit. To help him take control of his life, his parents suggested to him that he start researching and looking for ways that he could create his own part-time job from home. And he has actually been exploring different ideas of things he could do within the framework that we're living in now that would allow him to make some extra money from home. He's in the process now of learning the skills he needs to do to launch a website. And I find that very exciting. He not only is engaged and excited about what he's doing and feeling in control of his life, he's learning skills that are going to stand him in very good stead as he reaches adulthood. Encourage your teenager to look at this kind of thing. Help them move forward. Help them take control of their existence. And then finally, make sure that your children access their spiritual resources. Encourage them to pray. Encourage them to read the scripture. Encourage them to talk about their questions about spirituality and their feelings about spirituality. Help them engage with clergy members or other people that you worship with. Or if you don't have a formal worshiping program within your family, help them explore their spiritual selves. Help them understand why some of the feelings are occurring within them, and how experiences outside themselves can help them improve their lives. These are all tools that will help you deal with some of the stress that's coming into play. Crisis fatigue occurs because people feel helpless. It occurs because they don't know what to do, and they don't have control over their lives. None of us like that particular place. And if we can do things that will help us regain some of that control, so that we feel like we have more mastery of the situation and we're not victims of what's going on, then we're going to be able to divert any chance of dealing with the crisis fatigue that can turn into depression or anxiety. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and join us on www.growthunlimited.org for more ideas on how you can take control of your life. Remember, it's your life. Have it your way. Thanks for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye now.